Not this most recent one, but I mean, this has been a thing for years.
It's been a thing for years. So Mario Coran's going to come in. He's a New York Times journalist. He, earlier this month, his investigation of over a decade, basically, the timeline of how we got to where we are now with the shortage of correctional officers. It's a brutal read as far as some of it's led to inmates escaping. There's inmates who've died from lack of attention and care. It's a big problem, and it feels like maybe now we're at the beginning of having some urgency around it because there's been his reporting and other outlets that have been trying to raise this issue. But he's going to be with us at the top of the show, and then in the second half, Dr. Jill Underley is going to be here because it's Public Schools Week.
Fantastic.
Did you go to public schools?
I actually went to both. I went to Catholic school when I was much younger, when I was a little tot rolling around in like one of those plaid red get-ups that you had to wear.
Yeah.
And then I went to a public school later on. How about you, Greg?
Yep, Brookfield Central High School, Elmbrook School System.
Well, I knew the Brookfield Central. I wasn't sure about the younger years.
Yeah, no, even in Madison, we were, if I would have stayed in Madison, we would have been in the Verona School District.
Okay.
We lived in Fitchburg before moving to Brookfield, but yeah, public schools from day one. Our daughters are public school as well.
Nice. I did both. I was in a Queen of Peace in Madison until about 5th grade, and then I switched to public schools. So
are they highlighting some of the good work they're doing this week?
Yeah, and that's one of the questions I'm going to ask Dr. Underley as far as it's basically we're approaching the 4-year anniversary of COVID. And
I can't believe it's been that long when you say that.
And you think about one of the biggest losses I think we all can agree on of happening during COVID is education loss across grades. And so talking to her a little bit about where we're at as far as bridging that gap. I know there's big news on literacy. Wisconsin public schools are changing how they approach reading. And they're switching to the science of reading and phonics. So we're going to ask her about that. And also ask her, last week was not a good sign for the referendums for the different school districts. And there's going to be dozens more on coming up in April. So kind of talking about if those fail, what do these districts do?
Yeah, big one in Milwaukee, too, on April 2nd. Kristin Brey is in it, spanning the states up until Brewers baseball after the news, which is next on WTMJ.
I couldn't even bend over, but now after stem cell treatment, I can deadlift a house.
Now, this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes, and I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenex, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Only 11% of those trying to sell their own homes actually succeed. And of those that do sell their own home, they sell on average for 26% less than agented properties. This often negates the savings they were hoping to get by doing it on their own. So why do it on your own when you have an experienced realtor that will give you full service at only 3.5 to 3.9% commission? Don't let your home sit while others are selling faster and at potentially better than asking prices. Call Benefit Realty for a highly experienced agent, and you'll pay less for full service. In this seller's market, even homeowners are trying to sell their own home. But more times than not, it doesn't work out like they'd hoped. And while homes like theirs are selling, and selling fast for over asking prices, their homes aren't. So what's your next best strategy? Well, if you're looking to relieve yourself of the stress of selling your own home and still get top dollar while getting the full service benefits that an experienced realtor can give you, then look no further. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where 3.5 to 3.9% commission assures that you pay less for full service.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 1 o'clock, it is 42 degrees. Mostly sunny skies today, a high of 55 at the lake, 63 degrees inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Wyatt Barmar-Pooley. The search continues for a missing Two Rivers boy while his mother is scheduled to appear in court today. Two Rivers Police Chief Ben Menert saying on Sunday the search efforts expanded to city rivers and continued neighborhood canvassing. Police also reporting at least one fake video circulating on social media that claimed to show the recovery of a child by police. Again, that is a fake video. 3-year-old Elijah Vu has been missing since February 20th. His mother, Katrina Bauer, and 39-year-old Jesse Vang will both make their initial appearance hearings in Manitowoc County Court today. Both are facing child neglect charges in relation to this case. A unique affordable housing project could merge living units with crisis housing beds on Milwaukee's north side.
Housing is a matter of public health.
Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley touting the affordable housing and crisis bed development that will soon break ground in Milwaukee's uptown neighborhood. Crowley tells WTMJ the site was chosen for a specific reason.
When we think about affordable housing, but also crisis beds, we know that there are many issues that many communities and families are facing right here on the north side of the city of Milwaukee.
As for how the facility will ensure safety for those living here, Crowley says it's still a work in progress.
It is no doubt in my mind that we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that this place is safe and is quality.
In Milwaukee's uptown neighborhood, Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Health officials in Milwaukee County are dealing with a rise of overdoses related to the tranquilizer xylazine, which Narcan doesn't work on. Dr. Ben Weston with the Medical College of Wisconsin telling Wisconsin's Midday News testing strips can make a real difference.
4 out of 5 people who are given fentanyl test strips actually use them. And half the people will change their behavior based on a positive test. They might use less of the drug, not use it with somebody else. So these sort of testing strips are harm reduction supplies. They save lives in the short term.
The Wisconsin legislature recently passing a bill that would legalize xylazine test strips. That is waiting for the governor's signature. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow and the S&P down, the NASDAQ up. The Dow is down just 23 points, the S&P down 8, and the NASDAQ is up 18. It's a great time for your retirement and investment strategy review from a fee-only fiduciary. Go to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button now. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 103.
This report sponsored by the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. With new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, your local family-owned developer of personal outdoor dreamscapes, has added the ultimate backyard feature. That's right, spend all summer, every summer on vacation in your own backyard with a classic in-ground swimming pool. You've dreamed about it. Now take your dream ideas to Outdoor Living Unlimited. Patios, decks, pergolas, outdoor kitchens, and now your own swimming pool. See it all at OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com, then put them to work for you. Outdoor Living Unlimited.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update. Brewers back in action in the Cactus League today against the Cincinnati Reds in Arizona. We'll bring you spring training baseball coming up at 2 p.m. right here on WTMJ. The Bucks are off today. They're in Charlotte tomorrow, hoping to win their 5th out of their last 7 games. You can hear Bucks Hornets coverage starting with Bucks shoot-around at 6 p.m. tomorrow on WTMJ. And the win streak is over for the Milwaukee Admirals, ending in Grand Rapids yesterday with a loss to the Grand Rapids Griffins. The Ads still overall stand at 36-11, first in the AHL Central Division. They are off until Friday. Taking a look at your roads, your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Looks like we're not seeing any real slowdowns or delays. Just a couple minutes ago, we got a disabled vehicle reported on the exit to Beecher. That is from 94 southbound, so if you're headed off the highway that way, keep an eye out for that. And it looks like we are also seeing a little bit of delays heading right into the stadium interchange. Just a quick slowdown on 94 eastbound. Taking a look at your 5-day forecast. Mostly sunny skies with a high of 55 at the lake, 63 degrees inland. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 46. Partly cloudy and breezy tomorrow with a slight chance of showers and storms in the afternoon, a high of 64 at the lake, but up to 70 degrees inland. Wednesday, chance of some light snow in the morning, increasing sunshine throughout the day. It's going to be windy. High is in 31. Wind chills could take us down into the teens and 20s. A little Jekyll and Hyde thing going on Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, mostly sunny skies, a high of 41. Mostly sunny again on Wednesday with a high of 50. Right now in Madison, it is 56. In Green Bay, it's 47. In Waukesha, it's 51. And in Milwaukee, it is 44 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmar-Pooley. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News time is 1:07.
65,498 square miles. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. This is Spanning the State. Here's your host, Kristin Brey.
Good afternoon. Today we are headed to Waupun and Green Bay as we discuss Wisconsin's dire prison guard shortage with New York Times reporter Mario Curran. And it's the beginning of Public Schools Week. We will hear from Dr. Jill Underly on what the themes of this week are and talk the status of Wisconsin schools as we approach 4 years since COVID shut everything down. My guest co-host today is my dear friend, Steve Scafidi. How are you?
I love that deer in there, by the way.
You are my dear friend.
I'm a big fan of public schools. I went to a religious school. I don't have a lot of nice things to say.
Did you have nuns?
I had the meanest nuns that have ever been.
How were your knuckles? Are they still hurting?
It's the ears,
Decades
the
later?
head. They whack you with rulers. It was, nothing against nuns. And if you're a sister, thanks for the good work. But it wasn't a good experience. Public schools, however, thrived.
So you ended up switching. You did both.
Yeah. My parents realized pretty quickly that I wasn't being taught the right way.
Okay.
And I went and I excelled in public schools. And I still remember all my teachers' names. And some of my favorite teachers changed my life.
Did your girls go to public school?
They did.
All right.
Oak Creek school system.
So we're fans of public schools. I am also a fan of public schools. I went to both. I went to a parochial elementary school and then switched to public middle school, public high school. And I think I got a good foundation at the private elementary school, but I excelled when I got to public school.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with religious schools. There's some great ones, but there's some that weren't so great. And just by luck and happenstance, I was watching a Netflix series about one that wasn't so great back in the 1960s in Baltimore, which I'll probably tell you off the show.
All right. Sounds
good.
About it. Well, a reminder, we have a short show today because the Brewers are coming up in an hour at 2 p.m. Real baseball. It's back.
Yes. Are you excited about baseball?
I am excited about baseball.
Will you wear a Brewers cap on the air?
I don't own a... Oh, I do own a Brewers cap. I own a Miller Park hat. I would wear that on air.
Oh, vintage.
All right. When we come back, if you've been seeing more and more headlines about Wisconsin's prisons lately, it's because there is a major crisis that's been happening over a decade. It's been a decade in the making. And Mario Curran joins us to talk about how our prisons became so short-staffed. And there were times that there was only 10 guards for 900 inmates.
It's nuts. And I talked to my good friend Ron Bishop, the mayor of Waupun, and he goes, "Yeah, there's staffing issues here."
It's a great read as far as the story he published earlier this month, but it is brutal in some parts to see what's been going on across our state. So this is Spanning the State on WTMJ. That's coming up next.
Your weekly Bucks Breakdown is back.
Jay Crowder's return is imminent.
Bucks Weekly on WTMJ.
You're reaching the point in the season where you do give your veteran the first crack at everything.
And a new year brings new faces.
I'm going to stay ready, and when my opportunities come, I'm going to try my best to keep knocking them down.
Get the latest news, analysis, and insight on your Milwaukee Bucks all season long. Bucks Weekly with Justin Garcia every Monday night at 8 on WTMJ. And catch the podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love the simplicity and enduring quality of Scandinavian design? Then the Fjords factory-sponsored sale at Ken Michaels Furniture is for you. Inspired by tradition and built to last, Fjords brings the best of modern Norwegian design to your home. Save 20% on these ergonomic recliners and sofas engineered with comfort in mind. Available with manual or power options. Stop in today and save 20% at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown factory showroom. Save now during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. Special factory incentives make this the perfect time to save on a new sofa, chair, or sectional crafted by Norwalk Furniture. With over 850 fabric and leather options and over 100 different styles, you can create the look you want, and in just 35 days, it's ready for delivery. Can't wait? All our inventory is sale priced and ready for immediate delivery. Shop today and save at any of our Ken Michaels Furniture stores in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Welcome back to Spanning the State on WTMJ. I am Kristin Brey, along here with Steve Scafidi, and we're in the second week of a brand new show.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's going great.
Good.
It's going just swimmingly. And one of the segments I'm excited to bring to the show, one of the more fun segments, is Wisconsin in the Wild, where we talk about when Wisconsin makes national headlines or the Amazing Race. We're going to have Wisconsin contestants. Farmer finds a wife. There's Wisconsin contestants. Whenever Wisconsin makes it into wider national headlines. But this story is not quite what I had in mind as far as fitting into that segment. But earlier this month, Wisconsin did make the New York Times with Mario Karan's investigation of the dire situation of the 10-year plus staffing shortage in Wisconsin's prisons. And Mario's here. Thanks for making time for us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
First, congratulations on the piece. It was brutal, which is hard to read, but it's so important. And it was, I thought, moving as far as laying out the timeline of how we got here. So before we get to that, can you paint the picture for what the situation looks like right now?
Yeah, so I think the simplest way to say it is there's simply not enough correctional officers, not enough guards to safeguard the people that we have in state prisons in Wisconsin. And so this problem became pretty acute around the start of COVID, but it has since accelerated. And really just kind of jump to the point and jump to what's happening today is the approach that the state has taken to deal with the staffing shortage is to simply lock down a number of prisons, these are men's prisons, keeping men in their cell, for most of the day, around the clock. A lot of the rights and the privileges that they've had until now, including timely access to medical care, outdoor time, family visits, have been sort of suspended. And so the quality, sort of the conditions that men are forced to endure day after day have been going on for a year now.
Some of these conditions actually mimic solitary confinement. They can't get out. There's situations with rodents and hygiene. I get the shortage part of this, the staffing issues, but whenever you talk about prisons, there's the public sentiment that they're prisoners. Why do we care about that? And how do they wrangle that public perception issue?
I I think that so there certainly is that public perception, and that comes in. I hear that every day, and a lot of the feedback that I'm getting. I don't know if they have to go too far into it to be able to show what the outcome has been. I mean, there hasn't been these conditions have been continually, gradually getting worse in recent years. There's been, I think, until recently, very little press scrutiny. They haven't really, I'm talking about government officials, prison officials, haven't really had to account for that publicly until this past year. So they haven't done a lot of work to really square that, I guess is what I'm saying.
And so beyond, there's conditions of the actual having to be confined into their cells. There's the actual facilities themselves. Like we said, there's a rodent problem. What are we talking about as far as what the ratios are? We said in the headline of the piece is 10 to 900, 10 guards to 900 guards. But Steve, you said you know someone who is a social worker, because it's not just the guards, right? It's also staffing for medical staff, social workers.
I talked to one in Waupun. I was up there last summer doing a kind of a city tour, and I met the mayor, and then I met a social worker who worked at one of the prisons there, and she said each social worker had like 100 clients, prisoners. There's no way they can handle that workload, which means essentially the work's not getting done. And for someone who actually sort of understands the prison system and the pitfalls of doing things like we're not doing here, there's ramifications for this. They're not getting help. They're not getting educated. They're not getting their minds. That's why I mentioned the solitary confinement piece. Their minds are not being sharpened so they can actually succeed once they get out of prison, which, surprise, surprise, most of these people do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I want to come back to that because that is something that national experts have told me from the ACLU that, for all intents and purposes, these conditions do really mimic solitary confinement when you're talking about not being able to see your family for months on end, for no opportunity to just get out of the cell and have enrichment opportunities. So that correlation certainly is there. When we're talking about the ratios, we have on paper what the staffing ratio should look like. And, those, I guess, are helpful for understanding which prisons are most understaffed. But they don't give us a great idea for showing what it looks like on a day-to-day basis, how many people are actually there for a shift and how many people aren't, how many people they have to actually operate a prison. I mean, we have testimony from correctional officers as they were pleading with lawmakers for more funding back in 2021, saying, hey, look, there's nights at Waupun where we have a staff of 10 people responsible for overseeing more than 900 inmates. And there is just the opportunities are rife for emergencies that nobody can respond to, dangerous situations.
So how did we get here? In the piece, you lay out the timeline. This is over 10 years in the making. So kind of what were the main plot points as far as where we are today?
Yeah, to I guess try to put it to try to summarize it, really we see the very early stages of this. As you said, it's a decades-long problem, but we see the very early stages of this around 2011 when we see Act 10 get put into place. And, for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure most in Wisconsin do, but for those who don't know, this was really a landmark law that really gutted most benefits, really cut
public
down
unions.
Public unions.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so we start to see guys, men and women, leaving the force, leaving the Department of Corrections pretty quickly then. And that is the very beginning of sort of a snowball that happens over the next decade, which is really the more that people leave, the harder the work gets for those who remain. And for those who remain, the conditions just get worse. We're talking about multiple days a week where they're working 16-hour shifts, which is just not sustainable. We have signs. 2015, we have the former Department of Corrections Secretary Ed Wall preparing an internal document warning of the dangers to come if this isn't addressed. A couple years after that, we have an escape from Columbia Prison, a maximum security prison, which staff tied to the chronic staffing shortage.
Do you think the legislature, state of Wisconsin, either side, because often the party in power, they can move these issues, get things done, either side paying attention to this issue, do you think?
The degree to which they were paying attention, I can't necessarily speak to, but what we can say at the end of the day is these were issues that were taken up. They were issues that they were aware of, and we have the end result, which is no substantive action taken by either party until we get to the point that we're at now.
We got to take a quick break, but if you would like to read this story, if you've not seen this, text PRISON to the WTMJ talk and text line 855-616-1620, and we will send you the link to the story. Our guest is New York Times reporter Mario Karan. We'll be back in just a minute. This is Spanning the State.
Got game?
What was the question?
Yeah, we've got game. We've also got...
Swims through his man and lays it in as he knifes his way into the low block.
And...
He'll give to Giannis, and he says, I'll add some more to my tally. Thank you very much.
And who could forget?
Pulls up top of the arc. He got bumped, and he hit the three. Count that, baby, with another one coming.
Catch every Milwaukee Bucks basketball game all season long on your home for the Bucks. 620 WTMJ.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security Decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Hi, I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee. Did you know that Adam members employ more than 7,500 people? Plus, Adam recently completed their 14th annual Feeding America Change Your Oil promotion. To date, Adam has donated over $875,000, which provided over 2.6 million meals. Start your next car search by finding an Adam member dealer at adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Welcome back. I am Kristin Brey, Steve Scafidi. This is Spanning the State, and we're talking to New York Times local investigation fellow Mario Karan about the extreme shortage of guards at Wisconsin's prisons. And we only have a couple more minutes with you. So since this article published earlier this month, have you noticed any more urgency between Governor Evers or the legislature to start addressing the shortage?
Yeah. So, let's back up to August. So in August, we first published a story, New York Times first published a story that these lockdowns were being used as sort of a management tool for not having enough staff. The response was more than I expected. There was a lot of press coverage around that, and there has been since. And, local outlets across the state have kind of put this to Governor Evers and corrections officials. All of that said, the bottom line is that the men in Waupun and to a lesser extent Green Bay are still living under the same conditions that they were when we first reported the story. So, while there have been certain statements from the governor in terms of, look, we're hiring more people, we have a large recruitment class, things are going to get better. On the ground, the reports that I have they're saying it's more of the same. And just in fact, over the weekend, on Thursday, there was a fourth inmate who died since these lockdowns were put into place. So, the bottom line is men are still dying.
I talked to Mayor Ron Bishop about I talked to Mayor Ron Bishop about this not too long ago, and basically he made this point, which I didn't even think about. The fact that you're understaffed, those people, those individuals who work at the prison, that's part of your local economy. So the fact that they're significantly down in their workforce has a local economic impact. So regardless of what you think about prisons, this is an important factor in the thriving of a community that really, let's be honest, they have 5 prisons in Waupun. It's a big part of their economy.
Oh, sure.
That matters too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what drives recruitment? As far as I know, we had someone text in about vaccine requirements, but also pay. I know that with the budget that got passed last summer, there is an increase in pay, but what are the steps that need to be taken to actually get back to filling some of these vacancies?
So pay is a big part of it, right? That's the dollar signs attached to this job opportunity that would make people consider it. It's not the only thing. In fact, one important factor in this sort of recruitment is also retention, and that historically the Department of Corrections has lost about half of all the people that it brings in the door. The reason that it loses it is, as I've been told, loses so many people is because once they get in, they see the work conditions, they see that they're obligated overtime, and there's only a certain amount of pay that will force you to stay at a job like that, right? So
it's kind of chicken or the egg.
Absolutely.
It's that right now the conditions working there are so rough because there's not enough people, so they're having a hard time even retaining the people who are working there.
Absolutely. And then you have stories coming out like this. It doesn't necessarily paint a positive picture for a potential job recruit.
Other than salary increases for corrections workers, what else is potentially on the timeline that could make this problem kind of go away?
Yeah. So importantly, I want to say that nobody that I talked to for the story from either side has proposed pay raises as being a one-time sort of one-and-done solution. Even if it was pay raises that was going to help as a solution, it's something that is going to have to brought back to the table a number of times as salaries increase across the economy, right? This is not a one-time thing. The other side that hasn't been fully really explored or even articulated by the governor is that when the governor was coming into office, he made a pledge to explore ways to bring down the prison population by half. There really hasn't been a lot of steps taken to reduce the prison population. There really hasn't been a lot of exploration, at least publicly, for that side of it. So these are both two levers that could be explored potentially as a solution.
Is that same traits happening in other states? Are they having declining prison populations, or what are you seeing?
So a lot of states, the prison populations went down before COVID and sort of ticking back up. Wisconsin, as a state, has done less than other states in terms of considering comprehensive criminal justice reform and reducing the prison population.
Does that come back to, this is an opinion question, so feel free to not, since you are a reporter, feel free not to answer it. But as far as the idea of being soft on crime and the political stances on that, do you think that plays into the urgency, the action or inaction around this story?
Well, I did pose this question to a number of lawmakers, and Darren Madison, represented from here in Milwaukee, certainly feels that it does. As we see the elections in 2020, we saw really a rebirth of the sort of tough on crime rhetoric that had led to some of these more draconian policies back in the 90s. And it became, I guess, once again politically popular to take this tough on crime approach. And so in Darren Madison's view, and I think he has a lot of reasons to make this stance, it is kind of a return to that. And it is almost a political liability, or may have been seen as a political liability here, at least here in Wisconsin, to take more drastic steps to really grapple with these issues.
Because it was this. There was also recently an article of there's a bill on banning shackling pregnant women when they're giving birth. We still can give the death penalty to minors,
which
as
I didn't even know
10.
that was a thing. I didn't realize that pregnant women could be shackled.
Yes, and so there feels like there is a lot surfacing right now, and I know that you're continuing to follow this story and this beat, so we'd love to have you on as there's more stories about it, and I would love to actually talk to you again and have you back on how you got into journalism and following this story, but we have to let you go. Mario Karan is a New York Times local investigation fellow. If you would like to read his story, text PRISON to the WTMJ talk and text line 855-616-1620. Coming up in the next half hour, it's Public Schools Week. We'll be joined by State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Dr. Jill Underly, to talk about that and This is Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 1:30. Local headlines are next.
ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. President Biden's invited congressional leaders to the White House tomorrow. He's expected to urge them to do all that they can to avert a partial government shutdown this coming Saturday at 12:01 a.m. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
It's a basic priority or duty of Congress is to keep the government open. So that's what the president wants to see.
Without a plan in place, the rest of the government would shut down on March 8th. President Biden and the former President Trump are both traveling to the Texas border this Thursday. The president's going to Brownsville, Mr. Trump to Eagle Pass. The Supreme Court today heard arguments over whether social media can censor political speech. In Los Angeles today, a federal court hearing will determine whether former FBI informant Alexander Smirnov, who's charged with lying about a bribery scheme involving the president and his son Hunter, can go free pending his trial. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1:31. The search continues for a missing Two Rivers boy. 3-year-old Elijah Vu has been missing since February 20th. His mother, Katrina Bauer, and 39-year-old Jesse Vang will both make their initial appearance hearings in Manitowoc County Court today, both facing child neglect charges in this case. New details on a Milwaukee man who died after his car crashed into a building Sunday morning. Alexander Quintero Garcia lost control of his vehicle, hit another car before hitting that building on South 13th Street. The car then caught fire. Bystanders pulled him out, but he died on the scene. Police believe a high rate of speed is to blame. And the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources reminding the public to avoid burning because of high fire danger statewide. The lack of snow and rain over the winter meaning an early start to Wisconsin's wildfire season. The DNR already responding to 15 wildfires this past weekend. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow was down 16 points, the S&P is down 8, and the NASDAQ, only one in the green, up 24. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads, your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Looks like there's no major slowdowns or delays. Looks like the only thing to report is a little light tap of the brakes on 94 westbound through the Stadium interchange. The WTMJ forecast, mostly sunny today, a high of 55. Partly cloudy tonight, a low of 46. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and breezy. Slight chance of showers and storms in the afternoon, a high of 64 at the lake, 70 inland. Back down on Wednesday to a chance of light snow. Increasing sunshine, though, the high is just 31. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1:33.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
WTMJ's John Mercure here for senior real estate specialist Bruce and G. Nemovitz. If you've been holding off on selling your home or downsizing your parents' home, now's the time to contact Bruce and Jean. You deserve to enjoy the lifestyle you've earned. Learn how their team will guide you every step of the way. Join me at their free in-person seminar, March 5th, Berner Botanical Gardens. Doors open at 8:30, and you'll get critical info from local senior community representatives. Register at brucesteam.com, taking you from overwhelmed to I can do this. brucesteam.com.
Is your IRS tax debt making you feel anxious? The professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to negotiate your fresh start. Call them now at 800-230-5174.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey, here with Steve Scafidi.
It's weird being here at 1 o'clock.
I know, this is so much later in the day for you.
This is my long day. I'm here till 4.
But I feel like for all the people who would like more Steve.
I just got an email
I know.
seconds ago.
There's lots of people who want more Steve. So on Mondays, he will be here every Monday with me.
So you basically have promised more Steve.
I have
And
promised.
now you've
I've
delivered.
done my part.
Yeah, you've delivered.
And if I would have you more days, but I don't know how many days you want to be here, especially with it so nice out. I feel like you have golf to go get to.
Is it like a job offer? Or what was that?
I don't know if I have the control for that.
I don't think you do.
I would like more Steve too.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll negotiate that.
Yeah, exactly. We're good together.
We are. We have fun.
So it's Public Schools Week.
That's cool.
It is cool. And it's interesting. I have all these new experiences now of thinking about the world differently.
You're a mom now.
Now that I am a mom.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I always thought I was an empathetic person, but you can't describe just how you start to think about things differently once you have a kid. One of which is, where are we going to send her to school? Granted, we have a little while before we have to decide that, but we live in Milwaukee. We're in the MPS school district.
Mm-hmm.
The conversations around MPS, which MPS schools, because some of the immersion schools that are near us are actually really, really good. And there's talks of, what if we have people who are recruiting us to try to go to Shorewood because that school district is so good. And so it's an inevitable conversation to have when you live in this area as far as where are you going to send your kids to school, because it's not just neighborhood schools anymore.
It's like one of life's big decisions. One is to have kids, and two, what are you going to do with them when you have them? You have to send them off to kindergarten, which is a huge moment in people's lives. And then the schools, the teachers they have, and as somebody who went to both private and public schools, you appreciate these people. And look, teaching is tough. I'm married to a teacher. I know how tough it is, all the challenges, all the trials and tribulations. But at the end of the day, we want our kids to be educated. And I'm a fan of public schools. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be critical, and we're going to have a guest on that could answer some of those questions. But I want them to be the best they can be. How they spend their money, do they do it wisely, and are they targeting, for me, the most important thing, education.
Was Kathy a public school teacher?
Yes.
Which grade? I know she teaches in the tech school now.
She taught at almost every level, but primarily middle school and high school, and she's post high school at MATC.
Nice.
So everything from advanced math to basic math. I always tell people she's way smarter than me.
I would have, and I'm assuming I'm going to go on the assumption that she's good at her job, and she would have been.
She's great at her job.
She would have been one of those math teachers who actually makes kids like me who did not like math.
Yes,
maybe like.
She makes
math.
it fun. Again, that's part of the skill of being a teacher. You have to nuance it for different kids, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, when we come back, we are going to talk about Wisconsin Public Schools for Public Schools Week with State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Dr. Jill Underly. That is coming up next. This is Spanning the State on WTMJ.
Your home can be more maintenance free when you rely on J&B.
This is Tom Feza. When I have a roofing question, I contact Scott Klein, owner of J&B Construction, provider of high-quality exterior home improvement products and services since 1958.
Thanks, Tom. Between the two of us, we've seen hundreds of failed roofs, along with the unfortunate consequences of water damage. Poor workmanship, improper product usage, lack of ventilation, inferior flashing detail, and loss of control due to subcontractors are some of the most common reasons for roofs failing. At J&B, our objective is not just to sell another roof. We want to educate our clients. When J&B's experienced sales staff achieves that goal, our roof systems sell themselves.
For a complimentary roof evaluation, call Scott at 262-437-0537 or visit jnbconstruction.com.
Your home can be more maintenance free when you rely on J&B.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100%, feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Traffic is sponsored by the Delafield Brewhouse Restaurant and Brewery. Visit delafieldbrewhouse.com for daily specials.
Blueberry Ale is now on tap at the Delafield Brewhouse. A semi-sweet, light-bodied ale made with 100% pure fruit. Easy to drink and easy to enjoy. The Delafield Brewhouse.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey along with Steve Scafidi. And on the phone with us to kick off Public Schools Week is State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Dr. Jill Underly. Dr. Underly, thanks for spending some time with us today.
I'm excited to be here. Happy Public Schools Week.
Happy Public Schools Week. And so, what are some of the themes for Public Schools Week this year?
Oh, wow. There's always so many. And it really just kind of emanates from a place of gratitude, right? We have a lot to celebrate. Certainly at the agency, I mean, we're doing things like our strategic plan, and we're listening to everybody really statewide to see what they want to see out of our public schools in the next, decade or so. But also, just I've been celebrating Career and Tech Ed Month in February. And so going out and just sharing what we're learning from our public schools and all the things they're doing to prepare our kids for their future, right? So there's just so much going on. Gratitude for teachers and administrators and school board, but just certainly I am just blown away by the things our kids are doing in our public schools.
And Doctor, I'm married to a retired teacher, taught at public schools, middle school, high school, math teacher, advanced calculus is something she always throws at me because I'm bad at math. But one of the things she always talked about was resources, the resources to be better teachers, stronger teachers, be better educators. How is that being looked at in sort of the 10-year plan?
Yeah, so, that is definitely a focus. When you think about resources, I think the general population thinks, just the tax dollars, right? Like we are going to referendum, of course, to keep the lights on, that kind of stuff, or to improve our facilities. But resources also are included in teacher pay, right? I mean, these are professionals. They have skills and knowledge, and they care for our kids all day. And we have to make sure that we have the financial resources so we can pay them. We also have to think about resources in professional development. When you think about every profession out there, there's always more learning to do, right? To hone a new skill, or to improve a skill that you already have, or to just learn the new stuff that's coming through. And that is certainly something our school districts crave too, as far as resources, is the funding so that our teachers can stay up to date with learning. Resources for mental health, we have to look at our schools as places where we have to meet the needs of all kids and meet kids where they are. And when you look at the mental health needs and challenges, especially those that have come out of COVID, we have to, serve kids where they are, and that's in schools. So we always need resources. We are a human resources-rich profession, and, it's our humans that are providing these services. So we have to make sure they're paid.
So, Dr. Underly, since you brought it up, it was not a great week for school referendums last week during the primary, and there's dozens more on April 2nd's ballot. And can you kind of explain what is at stake if the ones in April also don't pass?
Yeah, I hate the fact that we have to do this, right? Our schools, need the money because we're not getting the same percentages that we used to get from the state. When you look at the rate of inflation, for example, the cost of business has gone up. People demand higher wages, or they, find other jobs. We're competing with private industry. Our teachers have transferable skills, but just the regular maintenance of our buildings. I mean, when a lot of these buildings are built, roofs and, all those things, like in our own homes, they go, they don't last forever. And so the cost of everything has gone up. And what's at stake is that our school districts will try to find ways to make ends meet, right, so that we don't have to cut programs. And so we defer maintenance. But if we get to a point where we can no longer defer maintenance and referendums continue to fail, we have to cut programs. That's really the long and short of it. And I hate that it's almost like we are holding these things hostage, right? Like pass the referendum or we lose these programs. But that's just the real experience that our school districts are going through because the state hasn't kept up their end of the bargain and funded our schools.
One of the things that I talk about on my show is the impact of COVID, the pandemic on education, and it's been measured, it's been talked about, certainly. What kind of progress are we making on some of the achievement losses, even in the area of what we're teaching in relation to the pandemic?
Yeah, that's a great question. We want every kid to be successful, right? We want them to have every opportunity, and we want them to get what they need in the way they need it. And we have to do that through assessments. The standardized test scores are 1 point among many, and things are trending up. I mean, our test results are trending up. Our test participation rates are up. And yet we have not reached our desired destination. So even if we were back exactly to where we were before the pandemic, we wouldn't be satisfied there either. So we just have to continue to keep our focus where it needs to be, meeting our kids where they're at, focusing on getting those needs met. When you look at other things, though, that impact test scores, you have to look at, are kids ready to learn? Are they showing up to school ready? You think about our own selves, right? Are we getting good nutrition? Are we getting enough sleep? Are we fully engaged? And so that's why at the agency we have really advocated for things like school breakfast and school lunch and universal meals. We've advocated for mental health services for all kids. We've advocated for things like full day 4K. Like, we know these things work, and therefore it'll transfer. And it has. I mean, studies show, for example, with 4K and nutrition, if we are providing these programs, kids are their best selves, and that's they're going to do better on tests. But just to go back to that, it's just one data point among many. And of course, we want them to do well, and we want to use that information. But we also have to make sure that they are getting what they need so they can be their best selves.
Dr. Underly, we only have about time for one more question because I know there's a big change happening with literacy and reading. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the change that's happening as far as going back to phonics and the science of reading?
Yeah, I'm happy to. We know that developing reading skills is critical to a child's academic success and their future life success. And I'm really excited about this work because this is real bipartisan work. This is a great example of people coming together from different political viewpoints to do what's best for kids, right? It's advocating and advancing for good policy. And that's the policy nerd in me, as also the parent in me too, wanting to make sure that we're doing what's right for kids. Certainly some students have experienced challenges with literacy, and we know that early intervention and effective instruction is pivotal to their development in this subject. So that's why the DPI worked to collaborate with legislators to reimagine really what way literacy is taught to students in our schools. So Act 20, it's great for kids, because it's a plan to make sure that we're doing our jobs to reach every student and help them reach their literacy goals. And if I didn't say it already, I'm really excited about where it's going.
Well, I'm also excited. I'm excited to follow how that's going to work in practice, how it's going to be measured. But happy Public Schools Week, Dr. Underly, and thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, happy Public Schools Week. It's so exciting. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right, this is Spanning the State on WTMJ.
The NBA season is here. College basketball is hurtling toward the craziness of March, and there is no easier way to get in on the action than with Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzek, Underdog Fantasy. Check out their easy-to-use mobile app or visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code WTMJ, and Underdog Fantasy will match your first deposit up to $100, plus they'll give you a mystery special pick to use on your first Pick'em entry. Pick between 2 and 5 players on at least 2 different teams. Select higher or lower on player stats, and if your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. Mix the NBA with college basketball. Throw in a little golf. It's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code WTMJ. Have your first deposit of $10 or more matched up to $100, plus your special pick. Must be 18 years or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Annex Wealth Management, investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Forget commission sales pitches and financial products you don't need. Know the difference. Annex provides elite, comprehensive financial planning customized to who you are and what you need. AnnexWealth.com.
We've told you about Moses Hadara,
the diamond cutter who created the Kessler 81.
The magical diamond that vibrates with light.
Kessler's works with crazy diamond cutters.
Geniuses who create wonderful, spectacular,
crazy diamond shapes.
The one thing these crazy genius diamonds all have in common
is that they explode with light.
The Kessler Emerald Cut diamond sends out rippling waves of light, like water lapping onto a beach.
The Kessler Square Radiant Diamond glows like the sun on the horizon.
Sometimes sunrise.
Sometimes sunset.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Ask to see the rippling waves of light, like water on the beach.
Ask to see the glow that looks like sunrise and sunset.
Ask to see the Kessler Crazy Genius Diamonds.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Welcome back to Spanning the State, or the end of Spanning the State. I am your host,
Quick version today.
Kristin Brey. That is Steve Scafidi. Yeah, this goes way faster when it's just an hour. How are you adjusting to that?
Oh, it's fine. I got to be here till 4 any day and every Monday anyway. So
no, I know, but as far as how fast an hour goes for you now.
It goes, well,
after 5 years of doing 3 hours.
Yeah, I used to have 3.5 actually.
Oh yeah.
It goes very fast. It's, we only talk for half of that probably. You get used to it. It makes your questions more urgent. There's a lot more pace that you have to maintain. There's a lot more urgency to getting to the break. So all nuts and bolts stuff, the audience, I think, is more focused because we have very specific things to talk about. For me, it's politics. For you, it's the states.
The state.
I love that. I love the mix.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Like for fun or?
On your show.
I've got 2 political writers. I'm not sure.
Also for fun, you're watching more true crime tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm hooked on true crime, which is a problem I'm going to have to deal with. My friend
Is
Carol.
it giving you nightmares?
No, because I never have nightmares.
Okay. It doesn't keep you up at night as far as Kathy potentially plotting against you?
Do you not listen to my ads for Advent? I sleep like a baby, Kristin. It's all about the partner. Look, I am doing, Tuesday's my political writer, so I have James Wagerson on the right, Dan Schaefer on the left.
Not at the same time, though?
No.
Okay.
They can't be in the same room.
They can't be in the same
Is that true, you think? I don't think so.
No.
Well, you had Dan on last week.
And Dan will be on again Thursday. I'm not sure Dan... the more I've met Wisconsin public figures, the more I'm not sure any of them, I would describe that of any of them, of saying, oh, you can't put them in the same room. You maybe know more than I do as far as people who refuse to be in the same room as another person.
I know about 3 or 4 tops. All of them are not elected officials right now. All of them are failed candidates.
Oh.
So, and you could probably guess who they are. So, no. And sometimes I want to just focus on what that person has to say. So there's not a reason. I'll occasionally mix them. I had 2 local writers, Spikuza and Jesse Opoyan. They were great together. So, yeah, I'll mix it up.
You'll mix it up.
So do you think did I pass the audition?
Of course. You passed last week. I feel like last week was one of the most fun shows. And you got wine last week. So I feel like this is the kind of things you're going to get if you keep coming on my show.
Well, if you can promise wine every week, I'll sign up.
Did you guys open it yet?
No, it's Easter.
Oh, you're going to save it for Easter.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm also saving it for my mom because I feel like she's going to appreciate it.
I love the notes your mom wrote this week. She enjoyed the new lineup last week.
She did enjoy the new lineup. She's a big fan.
Give her my best.
I will.
She was on my show.
All right, coming up tomorrow, Brian Noonan from WTMJ at Night will be co-hosting with me. We'll talk about how teacher apprenticeship programs might alleviate our teacher shortage. And we'll hear some of the most interesting exotic pet stories from J&R Aquatic Animal Rescue in Neenah, Wisconsin. This is Spanning the State. Brewers baseball coming up next.
Mortgages and Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, clicked on the blue button. One of our senior loan consultants, Brad, sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day, and then upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified